Hey team, Tuesday, welcome, welcome, welcome. Is March 2nd. It's National uh, Read Across America Day. Today, second day of Women's History Month, we are going to really we're going to do some reading today together. We're going to do another second expert Kahoot, and then we're going to talk about another text structure. So we got a lot to do today. All right. So I quick wanted to share this story. This is a woman who I know pretty well. This is a friend of mine. Her name is Melanie Whitaker, and her dad and mom, Candy and Dwayne, are my neighbors, and they're good friends. And Melanie is their daughter, and she is a air traffic controller. And I just think that this is an amazing bridge because Melanie is a incredibly strong person, but then she happens to be a Black woman. And in this article, she got recognized for her achievements because she was the first Black woman to be certified as an air traffic controller at Minneapolis International Airport. So kind of a big deal. She's made history, right? Anyway, she's got this kind of a really interesting story. She's just an amazingly hard worker, incredible person. And here's what she says. It's my duty to help inspire future aviators. Aviators are flyers. She was a pilot at 19, and motivate at least one little Black girl to be a pilot or air traffic controller. My heart will be full. Representation matters and is imperative. Imperative means it has to happen, especially for the future of aviation. So she's talking about she set the standard. She was really interested in air travel, and she's a pilot, and she can control and maneuver other pilots. She's a big deal, and it just came out of curiosity. It came out of passion. So she's really just a nice bridge between African American History Month and Women's History Month because she represents both, and she's that connection, and she's a huge success story, and she's a friend. So really huge shout out, and hopefully you hear this quick story and maybe you ask some questions or you want to know more. I can put you in touch with Melanie. She's an amazing human being. So let her inspire you to pursue what you're curious about. I don't care if you are white, Black, Asian, Native American, Latino. Let inspiration be the driving force of what you choose to do. All right, today you're going to play a Kahoot that based on my world. So I didn't do any research for anything that I'm going to share with you in the Kahoot. I just know it from years of experience and professional expertise. So enjoy that Kahoot because you'll learn something about the film industry, comics, and actually construction. What I do want to also point out is that we did this yesterday with the Kahoot. So if you haven't done it yet, do yesterday's work. Some of you are starting to get behind. And when we're talking about structures, I'm going to remind you that structures, like when we draw structures out, there's predictable patterns. And for stories, like I'm going to tell you a story about my trip to the Dells, or I'm going to tell you a story about the time I saw a ghost or whatnot, or, the story of my wife and our life together. It's a narrative structure, right? We introduce some characters, something happens, or I want something, and then we rise into some moment of truth, like, oh my God, this happened. And then we learn from it and we're changed, right? That's how most stories go. But nonfiction isn't that way. And yesterday, we started with the different types of informational text structures, and description was the first one we hit. Okay, so description, right? It's information that provides the what of a topic and could be shared in words, pictures, graphs, and charts. What is something? What is a cell phone? What is a mask? What is a water bottle? What is water? Those are all the definitions based around how you describe something. Okay, today we're going to focus on sequential. All right, now sequential is kind of interesting because this is, and I want you to write this in your notes, put it in your mini lessons notebook. Information that provides the timeline or sequence of steps of a topic and could be shared in words, pictures, graphs, and charts. Okay, so here's the thing. Sequential is about answering these two questions. When did blank happen and how did it change? So if I'm going to do a sequential essay on a phone, I'm going to tell you about when the year was that it was invented, what happened next, what happened next, what happened next until we get to today. Okay, that's when it happened, and also how did it change. So think of a timeline as one of those things that is very sequential. All right, history of our country. All right, 1776, Declaration of Independence, War of 1812, Civil War, 1860, World War I. I mean, like all these are, that's what your history class is sort of built around the sequential understanding of the world. But it's not just time, it's also steps. So if I were going to show you how to text, my mom was very hard to teach this stuff to, right? I would have to say, step one, right? We have done all year, we've done sequential. If you think about it in our assignments, step one, here's what you do today. Step two, here's what you do today. Step three, here's what you do next, right? Sequential is also what are the steps. So sequential can be time or it can be steps. All right. So those of you that are in class with me today, we're going to do some National Read Across America today, and all of you are invited to come to Zoom and join us. But ultimately, the real issue will be I will read in class today. So what I want you to do for today at home is this. I want you to try a sequential paragraph for one of the following. Okay. So 5 to 7 sentences, somewhere in there. You can choose, only choose one. You can write a step-by-step sequence or step-by-step instructions on how to make your favorite sandwich, right? So obviously first, second, third, fourth. Next, first I grab 2 slices of wheat bread, right? So the more that I can actually give details on, the better these directions get. I could say white bread, it could say rye bread, it could say pumpernickel bread, okay? But the more that you give details in each step, the better your directions are. Or if you don't want to do that, you could do this, a timeline description of a typical day in your life from wake up to bedtime. So think about this. This will be including times of day. So make sure you have times at around 12:15, at around 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, then this happens. So think about a sequential paragraph, either choosing instructions about a sandwich or a timeline of your day. So give me times. If you have any other idea, clear it with me first. If you want to make a meal, if you want to describe making a paper airplane, if you want to do instructions on how to read, I'm open to anything, but that has to be cleared with me first. So here's the thing for today. Write out your sequential paragraph in your reader's notebook and make sure you have those notes. So you should have 2 notes now about description, and then now number 2 is sequential. And then you're going to submit a photo or copy and paste your paragraph for today's discussion. So you only have 1 thing to submit today, not 2 like yesterday. Okay, there we go. That's our work for today.